How's it going out there, YouTubers? Cyberneticshark here with another new movie review for you. So let's go right in this review and see what I saw. So welcome to another awesome movie review. So this film I'll be talking about in this review is a movie that just came out last Friday on the 5th and was a really fantastic film. I was really impressed with it. It's the best of this awesome genre that they're really trying to, get a hold of, like the MCU is for, Disney and so forth. And this company that is trying to really make, their superhero movies just as good. And that, of course, is the DCU itself. And of course, they've had, a couple of successes with Aquaman and with Wonder Woman. But this film that just recently came out was one that I don't think a lot of people thought it was going to be really good. And they weren't too sure about it. Especially with a director that wasn't really, super known. Has had a couple films that he's put out that were okay and decent. But definitely weren't anything that was, of great, showing power of great direction. Now, the movie I'm talking about is the awesome film, like I said, that just came out last Friday on the 5th. And that, of course, is the film Shazam. Oh, yeah! So if you're not familiar with the DC character Shazam, basically Shazam was originally Captain Marvel before the MCU created Captain Marvel, and really DC had to change the name in order to, allow the MCU to be able to use Captain Marvel versus them, because actually Shazam has gone through several different name changes over the course of its comic book history, and I thought that was kind of interesting as well. Now, this film was directed by a gentleman that is from Sweden, actually. He's a Swedish director, and he's directed a few films, like I said. He's done a few short films. He's done a couple big films over here that, got theatrical releases and were considered moderate success. And that, of course, is Mr. David F. Sandberg. Now, David F. Sandberg, like I said, has directed a couple films. I actually haven't had a chance to see either of these films he's directed, but I have heard of them. I've seen the trailers for them, and they are pretty decent films, and they are actually horror films that he's actually mostly done. So the first one is a film that came out in 2016 and actually stars his current wife that he's married to, actually. She was in the film. I didn't realize that until I did a little research on him. But the film, like I said, came out in 2016. It was kind of a moderate success. Was a horror film based on a short that he had done previously that was good enough to get a full-length feature film made of it. And that is, of course, is the film called Lights Out. Yeah, Lights Out, people. Oh, yeah. So this movie, like I said, was a moderate success type of film, horror genre film. I think it has to do with ghosts. I'm not too sure. Don't know much about it. Just know it's a horror type of film, that it's kind of a supernatural type of film. And from the trailer, what I saw of it, it actually looked like it was pretty well directed, and that David F. Sandberg did a pretty decent job making the film and has a really good feeling and aesthetic for horror types of films. Now, the second film that he directed was another film that, like I said, that was a horror film that is a spin-off film of the Conjuring universe. And that, of course, is the film that came out in 2017 or 2018. I think, actually, 2018. I think it came out last year. And that, of course, is the film Annabelle Creation. Oh, yeah. So this is another one I haven't had a chance to check out yet, but I did see the trailer, and it looked pretty interesting. This is actually supposed to be like a prequel to the first Annabelle film that came out a few years ago, kind of give you an origin of how the Annabelle doll was created, and why the Annabelle doll is how it is. And from my understanding, it was a pretty moderate success as well, and a lot of people enjoyed it, thought it was interesting. They actually thought it was better than the first film, and that it was a decent horror flick. And like I said, from the trailer, once again, I feel David F. Sandberg did a pretty decent job of giving some great scenes that I saw in the trailer, and some great direction, and looked like he did a decent job with the film. Now, when it comes to Shazam, I thought he did a spectacular job. I think Shazam is such an amazing film. I thought he directed it beautifully, gave us a DCU film that we needed, and to really spice up the DCU again and get them back up to gear, to get them at par with Marvel. And I thought that, David F. Sandberg did a great job of doing that. He gave us a great comedy element, he gave us great action, great storyline, and he just directed it really well, really interestingly, and gave us a very, particular and great origin story to the Shazam character. And I thought he did a really decent job, and I really enjoyed his direction, and I'm hopefully we'll get to see more from him of the Shazam universe, him directing as well, because I thought he did just a really fantastic job. So this movie has a really fantastic cast. You have, quite a few celebrities in this film that, you weren't too sure if they were going to do good in the film, and they did really well. Now, one of the characters that plays the titular character of Shazam himself, he really, I wasn't too sure about at first because I was so used to seeing him in comedy type of roles and being so skinny and scrawny looking. And I was really impressed with his performance. And that, of course, is Mr. Zachary Levi. Now, Zachary Levi, you might recognize from the TV show Chuck. You might recognize him from a few films and different little bit parts in films over the last, 10 to 15 years. And he's just a really great comedian. But also, I feel he has some great acting chops as well, that he could be serious if he needed to be, and also he could be pretty actiony if he wanted to be too, and Chuck kind of proved that. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't see him as a superhero, but after seeing him in this, I thought he was a really great choice and was fantastic. It looks the part very well. It looks really awesome. Now, a couple films I really enjoyed him in that thought he was really fantastic in was none other than an awesome film that came out in 2006 starring Martin Lawrence, and is a sequel to his first film that came out a couple years prior. And that, of course, is the awesome film Big Mama's House 2. Oh, yeah. Absolutely love this film. I think it's absolutely hilarious, and I love Zachary Levi's character in the film. He plays like a agent along with Martin Lawrence's character. If you're not familiar with Big Mama Houses, he plays an undercover agent, and Zachary Levi in the second film actually plays his partner in the film, and he is like super hilarious in the film. I love his acting. I love his just his delivery in the film, and just how he interacts with everyone in the film, especially Martin Lawrence. And he just was like super funny. He had some great one-liners. Just a really great performance by Zachary Levi in that film, and really enjoyable, and a great performance by him. Now, the second film, or I should say the two other films I like to mention that he was in, were a couple Marvel films, actually. I don't know if a lot of people knew this, but he actually was in two Marvel films playing the same character. Very brief parts, not super huge, but still were a pivotal character that was pretty... had a lot bigger role in the first film, but he did not play the character in the first film, unfortunately. But of course, that is the awesome films Thor, The Dark World, and Thor Ragnarok. Oh yeah. So he played the character Fangirl, who unfortunately, gets killed in Thor Ragnarok. But he's also has a brief part in Dark World as well. But I really enjoyed his take on the character because I felt he was so much different than the first guy, but gave it a lot more flavor, even though his part was a lot shorter in the other two films. And I just thought it was funny how much he looked like the other guy, too, because you really can't tell unless you look really close and pay attention. But his performance in both films were really fun and awesome, especially in Dark World more, of course, because he had a bigger role. But his fighting sequences and just his demeanor and just his performance was super funny. I loved his dialogue. And he just was really fun to see in the film. And it showed that he actually has a little bit of a, like a fighter spirit in him, that he could do some fighting sequences. So that was another good clue to him being a good pick for the character of Shazam as well. Really well done in those films, and really enjoyed him in it. Now, like I was saying, I think he was a fantastic choice for Shazam. Thought he did fantastic in it. I loved his humor. I loved his dialogue. I loved his interaction with everyone in the film, how he interacted, how he played Shazam. I thought he just did a really amazing job of bringing to life Shazam for us, because we haven't seen Shazam on the big screen or even on TV series and all the DC and Marvel shows that they've put out. And this was our first actual on-screen performance of him. And seeing him, it was like a really awesome kind of like surprise and pop-out of introduction to this character. And I thought he brought that and gave us this awesome idea of what Shazam is. and that I'm looking really forward to seeing him portray him more in other films. And that I thought that he just did a really great job. Really enjoyed his performance, and he was a really great choice. Definitely worth seeing for his performance. Next up on this awesome cast in this awesome film Shazam is none other than an awesome kid that plays the teenage version of Shazam, or his counterpart when he says Shazam that turns into the actual superhero. And that, of course, is the awesome actor Mr. Asher Angel. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Asher Angel. Now, Asher really hasn't had many acting credits. He's really most known for, and the only thing I've heard of that he's been in, is a Disney Channel TV series that he plays the main character in, that is called Andy Mack. And this is really the only thing he has. He's had brief bit parts and little parts on TV shows over the last few years, but really hasn't done anything else except for this Disney Channel show. And from what I've seen in the trailers of the Disney Channel show, that he has a great persona about him, a great performance that he does. And he really brought that to life in the film Shazam. I really enjoyed him, thought he was so fantastic. I really liked him as Billy Barton, and just how he took the character, how he reacted to, what his plight was, the origin story of who Billy Barton is, the kid that turns into Shazam. And I thought that Asher did a really good job with that, giving us this whole Billy Barton origin story as well, and of who he is and what he's about, and how he progresses throughout the film. And I thought that Asher did a really fantastic job with that, and was really fun in it. Really enjoyed him, and I thought he did a really great performance. That brings me to the next awesome actor that was involved in this film. Now, the next actor that was involved in this film is an awesome character actor that has played many villains, has played some heroes, and just is a really great character actor, I feel, and that has just been spectacular over the years. I've seen him in different stuff, and I absolutely just really enjoy him. A couple of films that he's been in is such as like Sherlock Holmes, the first film as the villain. He was also in The Brothers Grimsby. He's been in a slew of films, Stardust and so forth. But this awesome actor is none other than the great man himself, Mr. Mark Strong. Oh yeah. So Mark Strong, like I said, you might recognize as the bad guy from Sherlock Holmes 1. You might recognize him from the film Stardust. You might recognize him from The Brother Grimsby. You might recognize him from a slew of films, even some TV shows and so forth. But a couple of films I really enjoyed him and thought he was fantastic in were none other than an awesome film that came out in 2010 where he plays the main villain, one of the best superhero films of all time, starring Aaron Taylor Johnson. And that, of course, is the film Kick-Ass. Oh yeah, Kick-Ass. Absolutely love this film. This film actually got me through a hard time when I lost my previous girlfriend when she died, unfortunately. And this film actually helped me through a lot. And his performance, Aaron Taylor Johnson's performance in the film, really helped me to just, move on and realize that there's more to life, and that, that reality is reality. And that's what this film does. And I feel that the film really brings to life what real superheroes would be doing, what they would be going through, what they had to deal with. And Mark Strong's performance as the villain of the film was just so awesome and amazing, and just really well done and awesome. They gave a whole new light to superhero type of films, and I really enjoyed that aspect about it, and just how amazing it was, and really well done the film was, and just how it really impacted like the superhero genre too, giving us that superhero films aren't just about the superheroes winning all the time, or that it's a happy ending and that they saved the day. There's more to it. And with Kick-Ass, you see that what reality superheroes would go through. And I thought that Mark Strong did an amazing job playing that villain of the film and giving us a great villain and just a great performance. Really enjoyed his character in the film, and it was a really great film. Now, the second film that Mr. Mark Strong is in that I absolutely love is a great film that came out in 2014 that has a sequel that came out in 2017 that has another prequel sequel coming out in a couple of years as well. And this is just a really fantastic film. And I love Mark Strong's character in the film. He reprised his role in the sequel, and he just was really awesome. And he actually plays a good guy in this series. And that, of course, is the awesome film Kingsman: The Secret Service. Oh yeah. So this is an awesome film series that Matthew Vaughn directed, who also directed Kick-Ass. And he just was so awesome in the film, Mark Strong. I loved his character of Lancelot. I thought he was so cool, or not Lancelot, Dimitri, no. I forget what his name is. But he just plays the character, Merlin, he plays the character so awesome and amazing. I just fell in love with him in the film. And I just thought he was a really great character in the film and gave us a really interesting and cool performance. And he just interacted so well with everyone in the film and just was really fun. And I really enjoyed his character and performance. And I really enjoyed it in the second one too. Just a really great performance by Mark Strong and just did a really fantastic job. Really enjoyed it and looking forward for more from him. So when it comes to Mark Strong's performance as the main bad guy in Shazam, he was really awesome. I really enjoyed his performance. I thought that he brought a lot of great characterization to our first interaction of this main villain of Shazam in the comic books onto the big screen. I thought he did a really great job of making it known of what his intentions are, who he was, what he does, and like what his powers are, and what he brings to the performance and to the character. And he just did a really fantastic job of giving us this whole new idea of what this main bad guy of the Shazam comic books is, and what he's about, and why he goes the way he does, and why he thinks the way he does. And I thought Mark Strong did a great job of bringing that, giving us that interesting and cool take on this character. And I just love his interaction with everyone, how he reacted, how he was, brought together this great villain character and gave us this really awesome film and great performance in the film. Really enjoyed that. Hopefully we'll get to see him play the character again and get to see where he takes the character. Because the last time we see him, if you haven't seen the movie yet, I don't want to give away, the last time we see him, he's kind of in an interesting predicament and comes encounter with another main villain of Shazam that I'm not going to name who it is, but is an interesting little tidbit to the film. Really looking forward to more of that, and just Mark Strong's just a really awesome actor. Really enjoy him, and he did a fantastic job in the film. So to finish off this awesome cast, we have none other than an awesome kid actor that I think was really fantastic in the film. Did a great job. He's been in a few other movies over the years, some TV shows and so forth, and just is a really awesome and great comedian kind of kid. And that, of course, is Mr. Jack Dylan Grazer. So I think he just did a really great job in it. Thought he was really fantastic. Did a really great job. Did a great performance in the film, along with the kid that played Richard Tozier in the film. And I just thought he was really fantastic, really well done, and a great just addition to that film. And it was really great as Eddie Casbracket. I really enjoyed his performance in that film and thought he did a really fantastic job. Now, the other film that he was in, I haven't seen. I know a little bit about the film. I've heard it. I haven't seen the trailer, but I have heard about it. I saw it when it first got released. Heard about it when it first got released. Saw things on Facebook and stuff like that for the film. And he actually plays a character in the film, a younger version of one of the characters in the film. And I heard that he did a really good job and did a really fantastic performance. And that it was a really interesting performance, and that he showed that he has some dramatic elements to him too, besides being great at comedy. And I believe that he does from his filming in Shazam. I could see him being very good at all these aspects, and from his characterization in it too as well. And that he's just a really great, fantastic actor. And he's going to grow into being a really successful actor too. And he really proved that in this Beautiful Boy, I heard. So when it comes to his character in Shazam, I absolutely loved his character. I thought he was so fantastic, so awesome, so well done in the film, and just a great performance and a great sidekick to Shazam. And his interaction with Billy and Shazam throughout the whole film was so fantastic, and I love how he just brought to life this character and gave us this awesome rendition of this character too. Just really showed once again how great of a comedian and actor he is, and I really enjoyed it. Thought he did a really fantastic job. Really enjoyed it, and can't wait to see more from him as well, either in this film series or in future films that he does, which is going to be really awesome. He is really good and really hilarious and fun. So if you're not familiar with what Shazam is about, basically the premise of the film is the origin story of who Shazam is and how the original Shazam has to find a successor because he's dying, and he needs to find somebody pure of heart that can help keep in bay the 7 deadly sins, basically. And so the movie's basically about you learning about the origin story of Shazam, about Billy Barton and his whole life and what he has to deal with, and him becoming Shazam and saving the day. And that's pretty much what the premise of the film is. Really fantastic film. Really well done. Great news for the DCU finally getting some decent films out there. They really showed it with this film. It's such an amazing, fun film. It has heart, it has laughter, it has action, comedy. Everything you can think of, this is in this film. And it's really well done. And a really great performance by everyone involved. You even have like appearances from a few other, known actors that play certain characters in different shows and films and stuff like that make appearances towards the end of the film. That was really awesome. I couldn't believe it. I was like cracking up. I was like, really? I'm like, really? They brought them in for these performances? I'm like, that's awesome. That's really cool. Just a really awesome film. Highly recommend it. Giant 10 golden movie boxes up. Can't wait for it to come out on Blu-ray, 4K. Definitely going to be picking it up, adding to the collection. Really fantastic film. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out, people. It's worth the watch. So that's it for this movie review, guys. As always, thank you for watching. Thank you for liking. And also, thank you for subscribing. If it's your first time here, if you've been here before and you haven't hit that subscribe button, what I gotta do? Beg? Come on, people. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss this video or any awesome videos I put up. As always, keep your eyes out for any older, newer videos you might not have seen. And always, people, check out the awesome Stardust app, where you watch 3 to 30-second little mini reviews of TV shows, movies, trailers, anything your heart desires. And also, this awesome app is free, so download it. Look for me under the Cybernetic 13. Follow me, and I'll follow you back. And as always, people, catch you in the next one.